Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, tell me what you gonna do, when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
Making it for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo guy's got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of row and flow like I ain't looked at a while. Like I'm praying for dust, and they play too deep for peace. Little legs I got to be. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand, when you can go follow
God bless you, working on the
Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to the CrosUp, the weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on September the 22nd to Collision on September the 27th, as well as the Victory Road pay-per-view for TNA and the No Mercy PLE for NXT. We open Raw with a long WrestlePalooza recap, kind of showing everything that happened there. Cody Rhodes comes out to start the show in the arena. He holds up his crown jewel ring that he won last year, said he'd love to win another one of these. But Seth Rollins, of course, being the other world champion in WWE, comes out to interrupt him. Seth Rollins has been looking forward to Crown Jewel so they can go face-to-face one more time. Rollins knows a lot of people don't like him, but he wants to know what Cody thinks of him. Cody says it's complicated, but it shouldn't be. He knows that Rollins has been making questionable decisions as of late. He respects Rollins. Cody is ready to win yet another ring at Crown Jewel, but Rollins then holds up the watch, which was a present from Cody Rhodes when they teamed up at WrestleMania 40. He gave him to that after their match, and after he kind of helped him win the big one. This is the first time he's worn it since that night, and now he wants to know if it was really a gift or just a token gesture, saying that kind of I'm better than you, but you helped me, so here you go. Cody has talked about being the quarterback around here, and Rollins asked what that makes him. Does Cody think he's just better than him, or what is he trying to say when he says that? The vision is about the future of the industry and what it means, with Rollins being the tip of the spear that points in that direction. Cody can be the quarterback, but he is Rollins' quarterback, so he's the coach in this situation, basically, or the owner or general manager, whatever title you want to give him, I guess. If Cody does not accept that, things will go badly. Cody brings up that Rollins has never beaten him and then leaves, and Seth does not look happy. The Vision kind of cuts him off in the entranceway, but they eventually step aside as this is not the time for them to take him out. We then go back to the back. Jimmy Uso comes up to Jay and is looking for a rematch with the Vision, but Jay has already gotten himself a match tonight with LA Knight. Jimmy isn't sure if that's a good idea. Thinks that Jay and Knight should just cool off with each other, as he thinks they seem to be on the same side. They just keep having disagreements. But Jay blames the loss at WrestlePalooza on LA Knight, and he says, and the Vision would have taken LA Knight out if Jimmy hadn't tagged with him last week, and he wouldn't have been an issue. Jay says he isn't blaming Jimmy, and they'll deal with the Vision after he deals with LA tonight. We then get Penta and the War Raiders defeating the New Day and Grayson Waller when Penta hits a super Mexican destroyer on Grayson Waller. We then go to Dominic Mysterio. He's panicking about facing Rusev, but Finn Balor asks about the Dom that was all confident and is the champ. Balor suggests him asking El Grande Americano for help, but he is not here this week. Balor and JD McDonough are both busy tonight, though Roxanne talks JD into helping him, so he'll face Rusev tonight. And Roxanne says it's for Judgment Day to stand tall, and not just for Dom to continue to succeed. And apparently Dominic Mysterio had already gone to Adam Pearce and asked for a match with JD and Rusev for later, so that was kind of already set in stone. So all a big ploy by Roxanne and Dom there. We then go to Bailey. She walks up to Lyra Valkyria and thanks her for last week. Valkyria brings up Bailey screaming at her last week, but Bailey thinks she's joking. She doesn't seem to remember that happening. She wants Lyra to be in her corner, and Lyra, being confused, eventually does agree, but she's kind of apprehensive, and she kind of walks away, and Bailey yells at her, "No takebacks." So obviously she doesn't show up. Bailey's going to be upset. Adam Pearce then brings out Stephanie Vaquer for her first comments as the new Women's World Champion. Vaquer thanks the people who helped her get there, including her father, who is in the crowd once again. She talks about what the title means and all the sacrifices that she made to get here. Pierce then explains the crown jewel match coming up with Vaquer, saying that she'll be there against whoever emerges Friday with the Women's WWE Championship. We then get some video on Brock Lesnar destroying John Cena at WrestlePalooza. We then go to the back, and Nikki Bella and Rhea Ripley are congratulating Stephanie Vaquer for her win, but the Kabuki Warriors come up and interrupt. Asuka says she's not impressed with Vaquer, and then she gets then Rhea kind of gets in her face, and they end up agreeing to a match for later on tonight. We then get Bailey defeating Roxanne Perez via pinfall following the Rose Plant. After the match, Valkyria comes in to celebrate with Bailey, but Bailey shoves her off and yells as she kind of acts like she has the voices in her head going back and forth. And so she kind of seems out of sorts, but she yells at Lyra, seemingly the bad side has come back out of Bailey. It seems like the good side's kind of trying to fight out of her at the same time. So kind of good character work here for Bailey. Continue to be that way. Cody Rhodes runs into Jimmy Uso backstage, and Jimmy asks if he'll talk to Jay. Cody says he'll see what he can do about the whole situation. We come back from commercial break, and Rhodes goes into Jay Uso's locker room. Jay insists that he's all right. Cody says he knows what it can be like to fall off the top, and says Jay's family and friends are there for him. And Jay, of course, thanks him. But when Cody leaves, he kind of gives like a disapproving glare as Cody walks away. And he kind of looked at the WWE title as he walked away too. So maybe Jay may be headed for a matchup with Cody down the line in a pay-per-view situation. We then get Rusev defeating JD McDonough via the submission with the Accolade. After the match, Dom kind of just stands there and doesn't want to attack Rusev or go after him. So Finn, being the stand-up guy that he is, comes in and saves his tag team partner, and they kind of run Rusev off, but continued splintering in the Judgment Day, especially when it comes to Dom. So we'll see what happens when Rusev and Dom face off. Io Sky then tries to talk Asuka out of the match with Rhea later, but Asuka is doing it anyways. Io wants Kairi to talk to her about it, but Kairi says Asuka is why they are here, so they must listen to her. So really putting over the fact that Asuka is the reason that they were ever brought in the first place. LA Knight then talks about trying to keep order on Saturday in the match as the referee. If Jey Uso needs help with that, he can deliver it to him, courtesy of a BFT in their match. We then get that match, and Jey Uso defeats LA Knight via pinfall, following a spear and Uso splash after some distraction from the Vision. After the match, Jay leaves for LA Knight to get his ass kicked, but Jimmy Uso comes out to cut him off, and he grabs a chair and runs them all off. And Paul Heyman kind of pulls the dogs back. We then get Becky Lynch. She is venting to Seth Rollins about Cody Rhodes. She doesn't like what Rhodes has been saying about her, including calling her lovely. Seth keeps looking at the watch that Cody gave him as Becky continues rambling, eventually promising to make an example out of Cody. Io then comes up to Rhea Ripley, who is sorry for who tells Io she's sorry she lost at WrestlePalooza. Io wants her to be careful around Asuka, with Io with Io saying that Asuka is family, so that she considers her family at this point. We then look at Stephanie McMahon being announced for the Hall of Fame. We go to a video of Los Grande Americanos, so we are now acknowledging that there is more than one. Kind of seems like they're going to become a tag team. They say they are back because they were believed to be gone in Lucha Libre lore, but they are back to take over the WWE. We then randomly get Maxine Dupree asking for a match from Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce says he'll think about it, but then AJ Styles and Dragon Lee come up and says they want the Americanos in a tag match, and Adam Pearce is all happy to make that match official. We then get Rhea Ripley defeating Asuka via pinfall with a roll-up after Kyrie entrance kind of goes awry. After the match, Asuka blows blue mist into Rhea Ripley's face. Didn't really just go on her face. It went over her whole body. There are pictures that kind of popped up afterwards on Twitter where her whole entire torso was blue. So that shit went everywhere. Kyrie eventually helps with the beatdown on Rhea with Asuka, but Io runs out to try to calm things down. Asuka kicks Sane down and orders Kyrie to attack, which she does. The Empress Impact then drops Rhea, and Sane gives Io Sky an insane elbow. So they have officially turned on Io. Has kind of been building for a while, so it seems like we're probably going to get a Rhea Io versus the Kabuki Warriors tag team match going forward. But the Rhea Asuka match was fantastic. Definitely check it out. It was the best match for Raw. But definitely a solid contest in that show for sure. But we'll go to NXT from there. We open with a homecoming recap from the previous week. We then get Miles Bourne defeating Lexis King via pinfall in a lights out match when he hits the Bourne again, which is his version of the zigzag through a table. We then get Robert Stone and Stevie Turner. They are in charge tonight because Ava is not there. Ava is on. They have Ava on the phone, but the reception kind of cuts in and out. Before she can say if she invited the TNA wrestlers to the arena tonight. We then get Ethan Page walking through the back when Miles Bourne kind of passes him and looks at his title. TNA's Mance Warner and Steph Delander can be seen behind him with Ethan not noticing that they were kind of in their arena. So this kind of happens throughout the night. I don't know that I pointed it out every time it happened, but a lot of background shots of TNA wrestlers kind of lurking around, because I even think at the beginning of the show we kind of saw Matt Cardona behind Obafemi. That might happen coming up, but I'm pretty sure it happens pretty early in the show. So, but Ethan Page comes out to the ring. He acknowledges that El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. is in the that he's in the crowd and invites him to watch him win at No Mercy. Wagner then gets up and goes to the ring with Ethan saying to get a referee out here because he wants to face him right now. That's exactly what happens. Wagner quickly makes him tap to an ankle lock in about 10 seconds, though the bell never really rang to signify that it was a match. Wagner then grabs the North American Championship, holds it up, and it actually the whole time was Tavion Heights, kind of adding some extra oomph to their match on Saturday at No Mercy. We then go to earlier today, and Jordan Grace didn't think much of Ariana Grace being less than serious and makes a match between them for later to see what the difference between the two Graces are. Laney Reed then defeats Candice LeRae via pinfall following a knee to the face. This qualifies Laney Reed for the speed title match against Sol Ruca at No Mercy. She doesn't end up being in that match. We'll talk about that when we get there. Jada Parker is then backstage and doesn't like Lash Legend and says she can hit a bit harder than she can, talk a little bit louder than she can, and look a lot better than she can. And a rematch is kind of teased, but they never really officially set it up. But after No Mercy, that is definitely something that's going to happen on NXT next week. We then get Lyra Valkyria. She is backstage talking to her old buddy Tatum Paxley. Talks about friends possibly being strange. Paxley says nothing is ever Valkyria's fault, with Valkyria saying she's glad that Tatum is weird, but consistently weird at least. Izzy Dame then comes in to say that Valkyria will drop Paxley again if she continues to be friends with her. We then get Chase Yu apologizing to a very banged up Andre Chase for last week, but Andre Chase said he's okay. He brings in some NASCAR drivers. Don't ask me who they were. I do not pay attention to modern NASCAR, as I don't think many people do. But they tease summoning Joe Hendry, or the NASCAR driver does, I believe. Dark State then comes in and doesn't think much of Hendry, who has now emerges from under one of the NASCAR helmets and he is one of the drivers. Either way, no matter how stupid that segment was, a 6-man tag team match is set up between Chase U and Hendry against Dark State. We then get Jordan Grace defeating Ariana Grace via pinfall following a spinning torture rack slam. After the match, Stax comes out to check on Ariana, as I believe they're a real-life couple, but they're starting to kind of present them as an on-screen couple as well. But Blake Monroe comes out with a trash can full of weapons. Jordan Grace grabs a chair, and the fight is on, with security eventually breaking it up. Stevie Turner and Robert Stone then come out and make a weaponized steel cage match for No Mercy between the two. So good kind of step add to that match since it's been deeply personal, and obviously they had the big weapons brawl here. We then go to the back, and Laney Reed is ready to beat Sol Ruca, but Fatal Influence pops in. JC Jane praises Laney, but says she can handle Lola Vice on her own. And then the rest of the team doesn't seem also convinced that that's going to happen. We then get JC Jane coming out to the ring. She talks about how she's been champion for over 100 days, whether they like it or not. She has gotten rid of the labels people put on her, like transitional champion. Now people are expecting Lola Vice is going to take the title from her. Sure, Lola Vice has 1 million Instagram followers, but she's not ready to take the title. JC has already shocked the world multiple times, and she's the underdog again because no one believes in her. No one is going to ruin this for her, and here comes Lola eventually to interrupt. After talking about the various curves she has that JC doesn't, Vice talks about growing up over the last year and being ready to win the title this Saturday. And No Mercy, Lola will show No Mercy, and JC mocks Lola for wanting her family to be proud of her. JC promises to retain the title even if it means a broken nose or jaw. Lola then knocks her out cold with a spinning back fist to end the segment. We then get Josh Briggs. He is tired of being told that he can't connect with people, so he's finally giving up and doing anything and everything to hurt people, like Javon Evans at No Mercy. He's going to start with him. We then get Dark State defeating Chase U and Joe Hendry when they hit the toss powerbomb on Uriah Connors. Ricky Saints then goes back to his roots in New Orleans. He goes to where his childhood home was before, obviously, Katrina and multiple other hurricanes took it away. He's proud to be the one who made it, and he had to because he didn't have any other choice. The reality is he believed in himself because there was no one else to believe in him. He's back in New Orleans because it represents everything he's done to get here. Saturday isn't just about winning the NXT title, but also about proving that he has gotten where he wanted to go all along. We then get Javon Evans with kind of a rebuttal to what Josh Briggs says. He knows Briggs is talking about him, and we cut to Jasmine Nix, who has been attacked and laid out. JC Jane and Fallon don't really seem to care all that much about it. So this is a way. I think this is the way that they wrote her out. She did not sign a new contract with NXT, so she is gone from WWE as a whole. But this is how they kind of wrote her out. JC and Fallon were kind of shitting on her before that over the last few months. So that, like I said, she didn't renew her contract, so she's gone. And this was a way to kind of write her out of Fatal Influence and NXT as a total, as a whole. And then we go to our main event where Trick Williams and Obafemi fought in a winner-take-all match. But as I predicted last week, it ends in a no contest when Trick goes after Mike Santana on the outside, and Santana retaliates. So I don't know if Trick technically won by DQ. But kind of after that happens, a lot of TNA wrestlers had emerged into the crowd. And then after the match kind of breaks down, all of the TNA wrestlers that came and pretty much the whole NXT roster just meet in the ring and start waylaying on each other, and it ends in a big brawl. Somehow Ricky Saints and Obafemi end up on the outside of it. And Ricky actually grabs the NXT title, but Oba's right there to grab it as well. And they have a little bit of a stare down to end the show to kind of lead you to the big match that they will have at No Mercy. So, but Obafemi and Trick up into the point where it kind of went sideways and ended in that big brawl was a pretty solid match. And that would be what I would give best match of the show to on NXT. Really trying to do the final build to a big show. So, not any really long and really great matches, I would say, but I would say that one was pretty solid up until the finish. But we'll go from there to Dynamite. Hangman Page praises Kyle Fletcher for his efforts at All Out, but warns him to not waste his chance, waste his potential. He says, as for tonight, he's facing Lee Moriarty, who better be ready for a match with the world champ. We then open with Brodito defeating the Gates of Agony when Bandito hits the 21 plex on Bishop Khan. We then go back to the conglomeration. They are ready to take out the Don Callis family tonight, and they have a surprise partner. The word of the day is mystery, but orange, you glad. They have so many options to pick from. However, you will not be able to squeeze this juicy information out of Mark Briscoe. Their future is so bright that they have to put on their sunglasses. Kyle O'Reilly then calls the interviewer Jane, and she asks where his mind is, and then he just whistles and leaves. So if you could not tell, a lot of clues in that promo by Mark Briscoe. We'll talk about who that mystery partner was later. We then get a hologram clone video, kind of the evil hologram. I think they are actually calling him El Clone. I think that's actually going to be his name whenever he comes around. But we will actually talk about something with hologram when we get to a collision later. So they may have put that on hold, but we'll see. But we have Chris Statlander in the back. She is with Harley Cameron. She is sore from her match, but happy to be the champion. She needs to face Mina Shirakawa tonight because someone needs to be her first challenger. As for being associated with the Death Riders, she says things happen fast when you have to make decisions. So it seems that she's going to be put to the test tonight and going to have to choose whether she wants to join the Death Riders or not. We then get video on Lee Moriarty. He is the ROH Pure Champion, I believe. He has a belt, and I'm pretty sure that's the one that he's in possession of. So he is. So they kind of just show like what he's all about and some of his highlights from those kind of matches that he has ahead of his match with Hangman. Hangman obviously defeats him via pinfall following the Deadeye. Pretty solid match. We then go to Renee Paquette. She this is at All Out after the Cope and Cage match against FTR. She tries to get a word with Cope, but he is very distraught about his wife, obviously getting Spike pile driven after the match. So he kind of shrugs Renee off. Cameras follow Cope, who goes into the locker room to speak with Christian Cage. Cope says he can't do this to his family, so he's going to go, and he might not be able to ever come back. Cage says he doesn't have a family anymore, so Cope should go and take care of his. Cope then says Christian Cage does have a family, and then they shake hands before he leaves. So Christian Cage is left by himself to deal with all of the things he has to deal with. We then get FTR and Stokely Hathaway coming out to the ring to cut a promo. Cash Wheeler talks about how what happened at All Out was never supposed to happen. They wanted to get rid of Cope and Cage and move back towards the tag team titles. What happened was all Cope's fault, and Hathaway forgives Beth for what she did to him. He was coming to introduce himself, and he allowed her to spear him. The reality is that Cope and Cage needed her to win, and that Beth doesn't even work here. So he starts to call her something, but obviously thinks better of it, calls her Beth. Dax then isn't going to apologize for attacking Cope, but he would have never hurt Beth on purpose. The reality is he was blinded because his eyes were watering, and he gave her a pile driver by mistake. This brings out Willow Nightingale randomly, who suggests that they are lying. She's here to talk about Beth Phoenix, who is one of the reasons she became a wrestler. Women like Beth are, I think she accidentally called her Beth Phoenix too, because that's definitely a WWE name. But women like Beth are the reason that women like her don't take shit from guys like Dax. Stokely then tells her to watch the Proud Family and go to sleep. So Willow goes after Stoke. FTR then grab her, but Jet Speed come in and make the save before Willow meets the same fate as Beth. We then go to, again, after All Out, MJF talks about how he is the biggest star in the world. Then he lost everything and went away for a bit. And while he's glad he accomplished so many things, he's been doubting himself so much. The tacks in his back represent the doubts, and he is going to go away for a while. He's not coming back until he can be his old self. He'll do it his way. We then get the Don Callis family. They're ready for 6-man tag action, but Don Callis wants to unveil his new painting that he has. The painting is wheeled out, but from it emerges Orange Cassidy, who is going to be the conglomeration's surprise partner for tonight. And then the conglomeration of Orange Cassidy, Hologram, and Mark Briscoe defeat the Don Callis family of Okada, Takeshita, and Hinchicero. I bet you'll never guess who took the pinfall in that one. But still kind of surprising to see Okada and Takeshita lose a match. But Hologram hits the portal bomb on Hinchicero and pins him for the win. Obviously, Takeshita and Okada can't even beat each other, let alone take a pinfall in a 6-man tag. So, but a really good 6-man tag. Kyle Fletcher then makes his way out as Orange Cassidy, Briscoe, and Hologram stand tall in the ring. Fletcher then has a mic and tells us that the Protostar has arrived. He wants the conglomeration to hang around as this concerns them. Fletcher proved he belongs at the top of the industry, and he will be ready one day very soon to become world champion. He is a future world champion. The next morning after that, he felt the worst he's felt in his entire life. But then he looked in the mirror and remembered who the hell he is. He is on track to be one of the greatest TNT champions of all time. He looks in the ring and sees a bunch of dorks, but also an opportunity. Hologram, you currently have the longest winning streak of any man in AEW history. Impressive, 34-0 or 34 and scared of facing Kyle Fletcher. The only reason that streak is there is because he hasn't been in the ring with someone like Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher wants to be the first to pin him. The 6-year anniversary show is next week. How about we put up title versus streak, Kyle Fletcher versus Hologram, and when he ends the streak, you will say his full name. So a pretty good promo there by Kyle Fletcher, and sets up a pretty big match that ultimately, unfortunately, will not happen. But again, I'll talk about that on Collision. We then get Mina Shirakawa. She is worried that she hasn't heard from Toni Storm since All Out, but tonight she's going to fight for her title and get it back for her. We then get a video on the Jurassic Express, their history. They're kind of coming back together at All Out. We then get Claudio Castagnoli defeating Powerhouse Hobbs via pinfall with a small package after a slight distraction from Pac. After the match, Samoa Joe chases off Pac, and Hobbs clotheslines Castagnoli to the floor. The Death Riders then run in for a beatdown, but Hangman makes the save and runs them off. We then get Tony Khan. He announces the creation of the new women's tag team titles for AEW. It's for AEW, it's another belt. I think at one point, maybe a year or so ago, this would have been a really cool thing to have. I feel like they've really they have some tag teams, but I feel like they really don't. I feel like a while ago, it felt like they were pushing them a little bit better and a little bit more than they were now. But it was eventually going to happen. Might as well happen now. So we'll see what they do with it. They could do probably a lot better a job of it than WWE does with theirs. But we'll just it's that with more belts in AEW, it's just going to be kind of one of those wait and see kind of things, because that they've been known to kind of create stuff and then just kind of push it to the wayside. So, but we will go to our main event. It is Chris Statlander defeating Mina Shirakawa via pinfall with the seatbelt pinning combination. After the match, Wheeler Yuta is in the ring to celebrate. Harley Cameron then comes out to kind of be the good side to the bad side that Yuta represents. The Death Riders, including John Moxley, then show up as well. And it seems that Statlander is kind of shaking hands and joining the team, but she shakes Wheeler Yuta's hand only to clothesline him out of his boots pretty much. And then she flips off a Moxley, and then her and Harley run off into the crowd. Darby Allin then shows up with a flamethrower to kind of scare off the Death Riders. And then Darby Allin issues a challenge for an I Quit match with Moxley at Wrestle Dream. So hopefully Darby finally gets to win in a match like that. But we'll see. He'll probably lose again. But the 6-man with the Don Callis family and the conglomeration had a ton of energy. Was really entertaining. So that would be my match of the night. For Dynamite, we'll move from there to Impact. We open with Leon Slater and Cedric Alexander defeating the Rascals, represented by Wentz and Miguel, when Slater hit the Swanton 450 on Trey Miguel. We then get Jake Something and Frankie Kazarian. They are ready to face Steve Macklin and Mr. Anderson tonight. Kazarian is going to take the international title at Victory Road, and he mocks Mr. Anderson's catchphrase to kind of end the segment. We look at NXT or TNA invading NXT on Tuesday. We then go to earlier today where Eric Young demanded that Santino Marella put him in a match with Joe Hendry. So he makes it official for Victory Road, which is on Friday, the night after this. We then get Victoria Crawford defeating Jody Threat via pinfall following an axe kick. Joe Hendry then cuts a promo, is ready to face Eric Young. Says he was his mentor back in the day, and things changed, and now Eric Young wants to get rid of him. Young is the one who has changed, and Hendry will teach him a lesson at Victory Road. We then get the System. They are ready for Hardcore War with Order 4, but Moose wants Mustafa Ali at Victory Road one-on-one. We then have a battle royal to determine who will enter the Call Your Shot Gauntlet at Bound for Glory first and last. So whoever wins the battle royal enters last. Whoever is the last person eliminated enters first. So Mance Warner wins the battle royal, so he will enter last, and he eliminated Lei Ying Lee, who will enter first. Some other participants in this match, in this battle royal, were Mara Sade, Matt Cardona, the hometown man, Zaya Brookside, AJ Francis, Rosemary, Ryan Nemeth, and Killer Kelly. So you got to assume all those people will be in it. Mance and Lei Ying Lee will be in it, but Mance will enter last. Lee will enter first. So we'll see how that goes at Bound for Glory. We get announcements that Mickey James and the Beautiful People are going to be the TNA Hall of Famers inductees this year, that they usually do this time around Bound for Glory. We then get a video from Mike Santana talking about his road to Bound for Glory. He has never given up, and this is everything to him. We then hear what appears to be a message from his daughter, who wants him to win and have all that he could have ever wanted. We then get Santino Marella. He introduces the Hardys and Team 3D for the final negotiation for their match at Bound for Glory. In a show of respect, Team 3D let the Hardys go first. Matt talks about how these might be the best teams ever, and we get an exchange of praises. If the Hardys want to be the best ever, though, they need to beat Team 3D. We get some flashbacks to the previous TLCs with Devon saying he and Jeff are never hanging from a ladder again, and calls Jeff a crazy son of a bitch. Jeff then references Edge and Christian, and Bully brings up the Dudley Boys before saying the Hardys need Team 3D and have always needed them in their history. That's fine with Matt, who wants the losers to shake the winners' hands and say that they are the best of all time. The Hardys are even willing to put up the titles, with Santino making it official, but Bully says no. The fans want tables, so Bully talks about losing in a tables match at the 2000 Royal Rumble. That has always bothered him, so we will make it a tables match. Bully then says something about not needing to sign a contract because they trust the Hardys enough to just make it a handshake. So we'll have a tables match. I'm pretty sure Bully said no to a title shot, so it might just be Hardys versus Dudleys for a for the shits and giggles. Winner's the winner, the loser's the loser. But that match is official for Bound for Glory now. We then get Mustafa Ali. He's with the rest of Order 4. He is tired of the system, and the team is ready for both Victory Road and Bound for Glory, as they will face in separate matches kind of throughout both of those shows. Ali recaps the rules of Hardcore War, kind of War Games-ish kind of rules where two start and then a team has an advantage and then one person comes in and it kind of all goes to the end. where one team emerges victorious. But Ali also suggests that the match at Victory Road be to determine who has the advantage in Hardcore War, and the system come in to have a bit of a stare down and seem to agree to that stipulation. And then we get our main event where Steve Macklin and Mr. Anderson defeat Kazarian and Jake Something when Macklin hits the KIA on Kaz. For best match on Impact, I would go with the Rascals versus Slater and Alexander. Just a really good, fast-paced tag match with a bunch of good X Division guys. But we'll move from there to SmackDown. We get another long WrestlePalooza recap, including a shot from the post-show of Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins having their stare down. We open the show proper with Paul Heyman. He has a lot to talk about and paraphrases a secondary champion by asking what we want to talk about. Fans then cut him off with an OTC chant, but Heyman points out that Reigns was stretchered out of Paris by Bronson Reed. Maybe we should talk about Braun Breaker, who will be the star of the next 10 years, or maybe the conspiracy theories about Brock Lesnar. Either way, Cody Rhodes comes out to interrupt. Rhodes then apologizes for calling Heyman a goon last week, so he wants to hear about Brock Lesnar. We look at a still of Heyman introducing Lesnar at WrestlePalooza, and Cody suggests that it wasn't just a one-night thing. Is he talking to the Oracle, the Wise Man, or the Advocate? Heyman then says, "You're talking to the GOAT. That's who you're talking to." The reality is that Lesnar is going to put everyone in danger, so here comes the vision. Cody says it's about time they met because he knows what it's like to be the son of a legend. He grew up the son of a booker and was around all kinds of people in wrestling, but he always knew where their loyalties lied. Where do Heyman's loyalties lie, though? No one knows, and they aren't with Braun Breaker. They kind of tease a fight, but Rhodes takes his watch off. The fight isn't teased. They actually do end up getting into a fight. Rhodes takes off his watch, and eventually the numbers kind of catch up with him. And then Randy Orton comes out and makes a save for Cody. We then get the Street Profits. They talk about having issues lately, but the goal is still the same, to become the tag team champions and defeat the Wyatt Six for those belts. We then get the Street Profits winning a number one contendership match against Mello Don't Miz, when Miz gets hit with a sky high and a frog splash, while Mello just kind of watches from the outside because the continued fracturing of that team. The Wyatt Six then come out after for a stare down, but no physicality ensues. We then get Jade Cargill. She's tired of dealing with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, so she's ready to become champion and move on. Stephanie Vaquer then comes in, and Cargill says she's coming for her at Crown Jewel. We then get Julia and Kiana James defeating Michin and B-Fab when Julia hits a running knee and then the Northern Lights bomb on Michin. We then get NXT Sol Ruca and Zarya coming in to ask Charlotte and Alexa Bliss for a women's tag team title shot. Charlotte says you can't just wave your hand and get a title shot around here, which Zarya giggles a little bit at. Alexa tells them to go prove themselves, with Charlotte liking their assertiveness in the first place. We then get some video on the kind of the idea of the Crown Jewel title matches, the women's and the men's, talking about how it's the best of the best versus the best of the best. Kind of just a look back at what happened last year with those and kind of what we might be looking towards this year. Drew McIntyre then comes out with a walking boot on. He's coming out to cut a promo, talks about his history in Orlando, about returning to WWE in 2017 in Orlando at NXT TakeOver Orlando, obviously the one right before WrestleMania 33. He won his second WWE title here. He should be here with the title now, but Cody Rhodes was one step ahead of him. The referee cost him the title because it should have been a disqualification. Do the referees in WWE work for WWE, or do they work for Cody? Nick Aldis comes out to interrupt and says he shouldn't make excuses because he's better than that. That boot didn't come from WWE medical team, but McIntyre calls himself a champion without a championship. Jacob Fatu then comes out. Cool to see him back. Fatu takes the mic and tells him to shut up and stop bitching. Drew then asks who Fatu thinks he is, and Fatu says his all gas and no brakes catchphrase. McIntyre then hits the Glasgow Kiss, which kind of staggers Fatu, but doesn't hurt him too bad because he's got that thick Samoan skull, you know. And I'm surprised it actually didn't hurt McIntyre. That was bad selling by Drew there. But Fatu pops right back up and hits a super kick, while McIntyre is laid out with his boot on his medical boot on his leg. We then get Vicaire coming up to Tiffany Stratton in the back, saying they might face each other at Crown Jewel. Stratton says she respects Vicaire, but will put her in the ground if they meet in that match. We then get Rey Fenix and Sami Zayn. They say they're good after last week's match, and Phoenix is looking forward to finding out who Sami will face tonight. We then get Solo Sikoa's segment of the week where he's kind of around his smoky dark room and with the table and all that. Tongalo is obviously to his right, and he is joined by JC Mateo on his left. So it seemed like maybe he was kind of rebuilding a new family, a new My Family Tree or MFTs or whatever you want to say, but he's kind of just reintroducing the group and saying why they have his loyalty. They show kind of some of JC Mateo's highlights from Japan and all that kind of stuff he's done so far in WWE. He praises him, and of course, Mateo says he loves Solo. So kind of just rebuilding the family and kind of saying what each of them means to him. We then get Sami Zayn. He defeats his open challenge challenger, who is Javon Evans, for the night. He defeats him via pinfall with the Blue Thunderbomb. So 2 weeks in a row, 2 big Blue Thunderbomb wins for Sami Zayn. So out of nowhere. Chelsea Green is then in the back and offers Nia Jax a spot in her Secret Service with Piper being out. But Nia Jax rips up the offer, and then Nia Jax runs into Stephanie Vicaire and threatens her. And says she will crush her if they face each other or at Crown Jewel. We then get Kit Wilson complaining to Damian Priest for his toxic and patriarchal attitude last week. Priest then lunges at him, and Kit falls out of his chair. Priest, of course, says, "Bitches be tripping, huh?" Aleister Black comes over behind, hits him with the Black Mass, and then makes fun of him a little bit. And says they're going to keep doing this thing until one puts one out for good. And then we got our main event where Tiffany Stratton defeats Nia Jax and Jade Cargill when we have an extremely botched finish or an extremely botched sequence. But it eventually leads to Tiffany hitting the PME, prettiest moonsault ever, to retain her title. And then, of course, after the match, Stephanie Vicaire comes out for a stare down with Tiffany Stratton as they will face each other in Perth at Crown Jewel. But the match, or the end of the match, was a mess. Nia absolutely launched Jade into the steps. Shouldn't have done that. She was bleeding profusely. You can look on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. The cut that Jade had was absolutely disgusting. She absolutely got hard weight into those steel steps. Nia then doesn't kick out of the pinfall, or the ref doesn't count it. So I don't know who you want to blame that on, but not a good match, or not a good night for Nia. Not a good night for the ref. I think Tiffany did exactly what she was supposed to do. Jade did what she was supposed to do. Tiffany was kind of late on breaking up the pinfall before the botched pinfall, but just a mess at the end. What really wasn't that bad of a match up until that point, but it just completely tanked there at the end. So, but match of the night would be Sami Zayn versus Javon Evans. Ends up being a really good week for Javon Evans overall. We'll talk about him at No Mercy. We'll actually also talk about him on Victory Road a little bit too. But yeah, that main event had the potential and was going pretty well up until the end, and then it just completely fell apart. And yeah, the less said about it, the better, I would say. But I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. But we'll go from SmackDown to Victory Road, which was TNA's special show that was on Friday. The System, represented by Brian Myers, JDC, and Eddie Edwards, defeat Order 4, which is represented by Agent Zero, Jason Hotch, and John Schuyler, when JDC actually hits the down and dirty on Hotch and gets the win. We then get Ash by Elegance out, not in her wrestling gear. She was, just in street clothes. She's with Santino and President Carlos Silva. Um, she's very visibly upset, talks about coming here a year and a half ago with a goal. She came here to prove herself, but life can throw you some curveballs. That is what happened again, and she is no longer able to compete. Therefore, the title is being held up, and she knows the locker room will elevate it as she did. Whether you cheered her or booed her, the people gave her the best moments of her life. Thank you, and she'll miss us, obviously, as fans. The title is handed over to Silva and Santino, and they both hug her before she leaves, and the fans obviously cheer, give her her flowers and all that kind of stuff. Santino announces that the Knockouts Tag Team title match that was scheduled for tonight will be moved to Impact next week. Instead, we will have a battle royal, and when it comes down to the final two, they will face each other for the vacant title later on tonight. Lei Ying Lee and Kalani Jordan end up being the last two in that battle royal, and they will face off later tonight for the championship. The other participants in that battle royal were Zaya Brookside, Jessie McKay, Cassie Lee, Danny Luna, M by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, Jody Threat, and La Pescadita. After the match, a brawl is teased between Lee and Jordan, but they end up showing respect instead and shaking hands. We then go to Indy Hartwell. She's the guest referee for the Knockouts title match, which made a lot more sense when it was Masha versus Ash, but she's still the referee. She promises to call it down the middle, and she will see who she faces at Bound for Glory. We then get Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man defeating the Nemeths, and when the Hometown Man turns a Ryan Nemeth sharpshooter attempt into a small package and gets the 3. After the match, the Nemeths jump the Hometown Man and steal his mask, but we obviously still don't see his face, even though we all know that it's Cody Deaner. We then get Mike Santana in the concourse before his match. He says he's ready for Ridge Holland tonight, and he's ready to win the title at Bound for Glory, because he's been working to get here for 17 years to the opportunity of being world champion. We then get Mike Santana. He defeats Ridge Holland via pinfall following the spin the block. After the match, Trick Williams comes in and lays Santana out with a belt shot and stands tall over him ahead of their big match at Bound for Glory. We then get Matt Hardy. He's being checked in the medical room after he had been attacked by AJ Francis on the first class penthouse on the pre-show. But he has been cleared for his match with AJ Francis later on tonight. We then get Mustafa Ali defeating Moose via pinfall after a low blow from Tasha Steelz, allowing Ali to hit the 450 for the win. This gets Order 4 the man advantage in Hardcore War at Bound for Glory. We then get Joe Hendry defeating Eric Young via pinfall following a standing ovation. They seem to kind of tease that this is maybe the last show for Hendry. He kind of waved as he was leaving. I don't know if that was just kind of his natural way of leaving the ring, but they kind of treated this as maybe this is one of Hendry's last shows, as he's pretty much guaranteed to sign with WWE by the time 2026 rolls around. So we'll see if that ends up being his last match or if he ends up at Bound for Glory in some kind of send-off match there. We then look back again at the TNA invasion of NXT earlier this week. We then get Matt Hardy defeating AJ Francis in a tables match when he leg drops him from the middle rope through a table on the outside of the ring. We then get Kalani Jordan defeating Lei Ying Lee via pinfall following a one-of-a-kind split-legged moonsault to become the new TNA Knockouts champion. So we took it off JC Jane to give it right back to an NXT person. Obviously, I know that Ash was probably going to be champion for a while, but in kind of a serendipitous way, before Ash by Elegance left NXT, she was kind of Kalani's mentor, and like I said, in kind of a serendipitous way, Ash comes out and holds up Kalani's hand in a nice moment. So obviously, that was just totally random how that worked out, but obviously, a former mentor kind of coming out to acknowledge that her protege won a big title match was pretty cool. Kalani's probably the better choice. I think her and Indy could probably have a pretty good match at Bound for Glory, but definitely seems strange to kind of put it back on another NXT person. But with the whole war thing going on, it also kind of makes sense at the same time. But we'll see where they continue to go with it. But I thought that was pretty cool that Ash ends up kind of holding Kalani's hand up to win the night based on their history. We then get Frankie Kazarian defeating Steve Macklin via pinfall when El Macias, who had confronted Macklin in the pre-show as well. El Macias used to be Judas Macias that was in TNA previously, was also Mil Muertes in Lucha Underground, but is El Macias, and I think he's been in MLW and AAA for the last little while. But he distracts Macklin long enough for Kazarian to hit a low blow and a slingshot cutter, and Frankie Kazarian becomes your new international champion. And then we have our main event where Leon Slater defeats Myron Reed via pinfall following the Swanton 450. Post-match, they shake hands, but Santino comes out. He says he is very pleased with how the match went. As a special announcement, at Bound for Glory, Leon Slater will be defending the X Division Championship against Javon Evans. So from NXT, obviously, but that should be an absolute banger of a match. Cool spot for Javon to kind of get in a big match on Bound for Glory. Obviously, we'll talk about what happens at No Mercy. I don't see really Javon going up against the new NXT champion in the near future. They may have a match eventually, but really cool spot for Javon Evans to face, and a big spot for Slater because Javon's a pretty pushed entity on NXT. So good for him. But Reed and Slater was the best match of the show. Kind of a muddled and messed up kind of card. I feel like how it was originally structured is not how it kind of ended up. Some matches were supposed to happen that kind of happened that way, but kind of a snake bit show from injury wise. But the main event blew me out of the water and is a really good show a really good match that everyone should go check out. We will go from that to Collision, though. We open with the Death Riders, Paragon and Matt Menard, Jamie Hayter, the Triangle of Madness, Commander, and Hologram all cutting promos, kind of old style with Collision to kind of get the show rolling. But while Hologram is cutting his, he's saying he's ready to fight, but Kyle Fletcher runs in and jumps him. And then in the background, we see the evil Hologram vignette kind of playing in the background. This was made to write a Hologram out, as he will probably miss the rest of the year at least of 2025. He may be back in early 2026, but he is being written off. I don't know if they're going to replace him with an evil Hologram or if they're going to put that on hold, but nice, good babyface Hologram is going to be out seemingly for the rest of the year at least. But we go into our first match where the Death Riders of Daniel Garcia, Claudio Castagnoli, and John Moxley defeat the Paragon of Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, as well as Matt Menard, when Garcia does his surfboard stomp on Matt Menard and gets the pinfall on him. We then get video on Bandito and Brody King. Brodito, of course, kind of showing their tag team reign so far and what they can do as a team. Brody King then by himself wants to get his hands on the Don Callis family and wants to settle the score with Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks. And on Dynamite, him and Bandito will team with Kenny Omega to face those three on the 6th anniversary of Dynamite. We then go to our next match where the Death Riders, this time represented by Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir, defeat Rachel Ellering and Rosario Grillo when Shafir gets Ellering to tap to the Mother's Milk. Definitely a very interesting name for a submission move, but she kind of just presses her head into her boobs and like chokes her out. So she tapped to that. Aptly named, of course, but definitely a weird one for sure. But after the match, Wheeler Yuta is not happy with Chris Statlander, who betrayed the people who cared about her the most. He is the reason she is champion today, and on Dynamite, she will pay for making the wrong choice. Speaking of people making the wrong choice, Darby Allin will not give up and go away. Allin saw a lot of dead bodies on Mount Everest, so the Death Riders will put him right next to them. And then John Moxley bitches about the ops continuing to get into their business lately. We then look back at Darby Allin challenging Moxley at Wrestle Dream, and the I Quit match made official. Now we get video from Dynamite with Hangman Page and the Ops being ready to destroy the Death Riders next week on Dynamite. Samoa Joe then promises a lot more lessons in violence. We then get the Acclaimed, not really the Acclaimed, but Bowens and Caster defeating Swirl of Lee Johnson and Blake Christian when Bowens hits a right hand on Lee Johnson and Max is right behind him to score a roll-up pin. After the match, Jerry Lynn wants them to do some scissoring, but Bowens walks away despite seeming kind of into it at one point. And then we get the matriarchy. They're not happy with Luchasaurus leaving them to go back with Jungle Boy. But Nick Wayne is ready to go after Christian Cage when his foot heals. We then get Anna Jay and Tay Conti. They are very excited for the new women's tag team titles being introduced. And this is what they have been wanting for years, as they consider themselves one of the premier tag teams on the women's side. We then get the Outrunners and Dalton Castle defeating Corey Sparks, Cowpoke Paul, and KM when Castle hits the Bangarang on KM for the win. We then get video on Mark Briscoe defeating MJF in a tables and tacks match at All Out. Now Briscoe is back with the conglomeration, and they are funny, but they are no joke. We then get Kyle Fletcher defeating Commander via pinfall following a brainbuster. We then look at Hologram being attacked earlier, plus Fletcher's win, and Fletcher says this was about reestablishing dominance, and he's just so upset about not facing Hologram. Now he has no one to face, but he wants someone to step up and give him a challenge on Dynamite, and it's going to be Orange Cassidy. We then get Hook and Eddie Kingston defeating Big Bill and Brian Keith when Keith gets hit with a spinning back fist, and then he taps to Hook's Red Rum. We then get the Bang Bang Gang agreeing that they need new members. Ace Austin comes in and offers his services up, and it seems to have already been approved by Switchblade Jay White that he joins, and he is now part of the Bang Bang Gang. Probably good to get him in a group. I don't know that he's going to really emerge in that group with all those guys in there, but we'll see. We then get Jamie Hayter defeating Julia Hart via pinfall following the Haterade. After the match, Sky Blue comes in to jump Hayter, who gets double super kicked. Queen Aminata then runs in with a belt for the save. Tekla then is out as well, and she doesn't even really much attack. But Hayter grabs the mic and says she has an idea to kind of deal with the Triangle of Madness. And she says there's one simple way to solve this, and that is blood and guts. So we're finally going to get a blood and guts women's match. We'll see how that kind of goes, but they were bound to do it eventually. Hopefully it ends up being a pretty good match, but excited to see what they can do with that. Fletcher and Commander was definitely the best match. I say it a lot, but Fletcher, if he's in a match, is usually a pretty good choice for best match in the long run, but definitely one worth checking out. All right, and we will finish thing up with No Mercy. We open with Javon Evans defeating Josh Briggs via pinfall following the top rope springboard cutter. We cut back to last night. We show that Kalani Jordan won the TNA Knockouts Championship after Ash Elegance had to vacate it. Jordan is excited to be champion and will fight like heck to keep it. And yes, she did say heck. Laney Reed is announced as injured and will not be facing Sol Ruca later tonight for the Speed title. But Sean implies that there will be a mystery opponent that will face her after all. Sol, I mean. So then Sol comes out and she learns that Jada Parker is going to be her opponent. Sol is able to defeat her via pinfall when Lash Legend comes ringside and distracts Parker long enough for Sol to catch. Jada coming back in the ring with the Soul Snatcher to retain her Speed Championship. We then get Joe Hendry. He was disappointed with recent losses to Dark State. Dark State then interrupts him and threatens him. Joe then seems intrigued by what sounded like an offer to join Dark State. So maybe Dark State starts to get a little bit of a leader. We'll see if he ends up taking them up on that offer. We then get Jordan Grace defeating Blake Monroe in the weaponized steel cage match when she hits an air raid crash from the top of the cage to win the match. So she pulls in Tommaso Ciampa on Adam Cole and just crushes her from the top. But absolutely brutal match, solid throughout. Maybe could have been a little bit more brutal, but definitely a solid match, no doubt. Ava then announces NXT Invasion with TNA facing NXT on October 7th in a pair of Survivor Series style matches. It will be one women's match, one men's match, and then we will also get Dark State versus the Hardy Boys in a winner takes all title match for the tag team titles. We then get Lash Legend coming out to mock TNA, saying she will be the captain of the women's NXT kind of survivor match team. And then Jada Parker comes out to take her out for what happened earlier between the two of them. We then get Lainey Reed. She is disappointed that she was injured and not be able to participate in her match when Lola Vice comes in to console her. Lola says she's sorry that Reed is hurt and couldn't be in her match. Lainey then thanks her, but knows that Vice is going to lose tonight. So she should be the one that's sorry. Ethan Page then defeats Tavion Heights via pinfall, following a twisted grin. After the match, Latin American AAA champion El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. Pops up to say that he wants the North American title from Ethan Page. So we'll see how that goes for him. We think at Miles Bourne, he is glad that Lexis King made him tap into a different world inside of him. NXT is his family, and he's ready to go to war with TNA. He doesn't care who comes after NXT because he is ready to defend their house. We then get TNA's Mike Santana. He is ready to win the TNA World title back, and he's not the only one in TNA who's ticked off about this whole thing. He'll be back on Tuesday, and he's not coming alone. Frankie Kazarian, they show a tweet that he had that he is going to be on NXT on Tuesday as well, and he's ready to fight as well. We then get JC Jane defeating Lola Vice when someone in a hoodie attacks Lola Vice on the outside, and once Lola kind of rolls back in, making it in before the 10 count, she ends up getting nailed with the rolling encore, and that allows JC to retain her championship. We then get Moose and Mustafa Ali in separate. Well, Moose cuts a promo. Mustafa Ali sends a tweet, and they both talk about the invasion and how they're ready to fight for the TNA side. And then we get our main event where Ricky Saints defeats Obafemi via pinfall after reversing a fall from Grace into a DDT. And then he follows it with another spring-off tornado DDT to become the new NXT champion. I was kind of surprised Saints beat him on the first try, but definitely seems time for Obafemi to emerge on the main roster and be his own man up there. So definitely a really solid show throughout. Thought the main event was very good, but the opening match with Evans and Briggs, like I said earlier, it was a huge week for Evans. Had a great match on SmackDown. And a great match here, so he would definitely be an MVP of the week if I did that kind of thing. But definitely check out Evans and Briggs from that show, as well as the cage match in the main event. I thought all were really solid. JC and Lola was really solid as well, so definitely check out the whole NXT show because it was really good. But thank you for joining me as always, and we will see you next week.